It's Greg here, back in the review seat after a long extended break because of work complications thanks to COVID. I'm now back in the position to devote some time to reviewing a product again, and I'm excited to announce that it is the Wolverine V2. A few weeks ago I was contacted by Yanni and the team at Apex Interactive and asked if I would be interested in reviewing this new version of the controller that started it all off for me personally a few years ago. I won the review competition to review the Wolverine Ultimate controller, and the nice part of that was that I got to keep it afterwards as a prize. So since then, the team has asked me to review a few various controllers and a few headsets and a few products along the way. And now it's come full circle, and I now have the new model of the Razer Wolverine called the Razer Wolverine V2. So I feel like straight out of the bat I need to just clarify that it's more of a successor in name rather than in functionality and features per se. Because I'm sure a few of you might know that the original Razer Wolverine came in two models. There was the Wolverine Ultimate and the Wolverine Tournament Edition. The Wolverine Ultimate was a flagship model which offered all the bells and whistles and a few things you might not even need or use. And then the Tournament Edition was more streamlined, kind of stripped back version without some of the bells and whistles, cheaper price point. And this model, the Wolverine V2, is more of a successor to the Tournament Edition, if I can compare it to any first generation Wolverine. It's definitely not a successor to the Wolverine Ultimate Edition, and you'll be seeing why shortly once I start doing the unboxing and showing you the features and all of that. So as always, the competition details will be revealed on the Facebook page as the reviews get published. So follow the Facebook page and look at the details for how you can enter this competition and watch the review video. And I'm sure Yanni and the team will make it quite easy for you guys, but you might need to just watch some of these sections and listen to some of the scores and some of the points that I make. And as always, we have 5 sections for our review videos, which we then sum up into a score out of 100, which we call our game score. In this review, I've revamped the format a little bit. So first things first, we go for the design of the product. How does the unboxing go? What does the packaging look like? What does the first impression that you get of the product before you've even plugged it in, before you've taken it home, when you've just received it or you've taken it out from the store and you open it up and you take a look at it and you want to get a first impression of the product? How does it look? So I always start that process with the unboxing of the product. How does the actual packaging look? What does the packaging inside look like? Anything special to write home about? Some brands like to make the unboxing process quite special and they include some little extra things inside there. Personally, from the Razer Wolverine Ultimate, the first edition that I had, there were a few nice little extras that they put inside, like little pamphlets and stickers and stuff like that. So, we can take a look at what they've done for this model too. When you open it up, you see that the controller is housed inside this hard foam here. It's quite a nice, strong feeling foam. It does feel a little bit cheap. It also looks a little bit cheap if you look inside there. It doesn't look wonderful. Cable of the controller is wrapped up inside this little insert at the bottom, which has a booklet inside of it. And this booklet has the typical Razer claims of dominate your game right from your living room. Extensively tested and validated by esports athletes. Those kind of claims, which are just there to kind of set their brand apart from the regular stuff out there. I have to admit, it wasn't the most amazing unboxing for a Razer product, which is normally associated with the higher end of the accessories market. And having 2 other Razer products myself, I feel like this product was a little bit anticlimactic as far as the unboxing goes. The controller itself was just placed inside the box like this. Nothing special to write home about, no carry case, no stickers lying around, anything like that. Just a kind of a black and green box with some foam with the controller inside of it. So as far as that goes, the unboxing was a little bit anticlimactic personally. But then you move on to the controller itself and you actually start noticing that it is a very impressive looking controller. It looks quite a bit different to the original Xbox One controller, which I have here for reference. The face itself seems to be a lot larger. The space on the front where the buttons are seems to be a bit bigger than the original Xbox controller. And when you compare it to the first generation Wolverine Ultimate, you also start noticing the differences. It's a little bit bigger and flatter, which might not come across in the video, but it's definitely obvious in person. You can see the differences. And the other thing that stands out right away is the shape of the handles, the grips. On the Wolverine V2, this one here, it definitely is noticeably stumpier, shorter and stumpier, whereas the first generation Xbox One and Wolverine controllers, the grips are quite sharp and angled. You'll see that they actually extend quite a bit further out, whereas on the Wolverine V2 the stumps are quite stumpy. That's a good way to put it, I think. They're quite stumpy. They're not as sharp and angled, and they feel like they abruptly cut off with a rounded edge over here, so it feels a bit stumpy. You then move on to the green cutout around the controller, which identifies it as the Razer brand. You'll see on the headset that I have, the Razer headset, it's also got the band on it there. The one other thing though is that there is no RGB strip on this controller anywhere. The previous generation Wolverine did have an RGB strip on it, and the headset has a light on the side, whereas this one just has the normal Xbox light that lights up, and a little white strip below it to show that the power's on. There's nothing really Razer about it, with its kind of cliched RGB strips in all their products, so I'm not sure how most of you feel about that. Personally, I didn't ever really notice the difference of having an RGB strip on my controller, because I'm not looking at the controller when I'm gaming. So personally, I've never really cared about my RGB strip on the original controller. So for me, it's not a train smash that doesn't have a flashing strip of color on the controller itself. But it is noticeable that it doesn't have that compared to the previous controllers and other Razer products. The other thing that stands out right from the get-go are the 2 extra buttons on the shoulder here. This is what Razer tout as their one of the main features of the controller. You'll also hear that they have a very satisfying, almost mouse-like click. Short actuation, very satisfying click sound as well. And these are programmable. You can program them to any of the face or shoulder buttons to reassign any of the features that you want. You'll also notice that there are a few extra buttons. There's 2 on the face here, and then the layout of the menu and start button have been adjusted. They're much smaller, and they are kind of hidden in the top shoulders of the face of the controller. The button feel is amazing. Razer claim that these 4 buttons here use a mecha tactile switch. The face buttons, the A, B, X, Y, they have a mechanical / tactile switch, which means that it has a very satisfying click to it. I'm not sure if that's coming across in the microphone, but it does have a very satisfying mechanical style click to it, which is a bit of reminiscent of the mechanical keyboards that PC gamers will be familiar with. It's not spongy at all. However, the button size is a little bit bigger than on the previous generation Wolverine controllers. It might not be very evident from this, but the buttons on the first generation it's like a mouse click. It's very short, and the buttons themselves are almost tiny, whereas these ones, the buttons themselves are reminiscent of the standard Xbox buttons, but the mechanism behind it is a mechanical mechanism. So it's much more responsive. You get a satisfying click from it. It's a very nice feeling button press on the face buttons here. You will notice that the cable is fixed, unfortunately. On the previous generation, this cable could be removed. Even though it wasn't a wireless controller, the power had to come from the cable. So when you remove the cable, it was not powered. But it was a nice little change that you could use that cable for charging your phone or charging your headset when you weren't using your controller. So it's noticeable that this is a fixed cable into the back of the controller now. You'll also notice that the grips themselves, all around the back, the front, the sides of these grips, it's got a nice durable rough texture to it. The first generation only had the grip on the back portion of the controller. So on the front it was a nice smooth looking controller, but didn't provide any grip whatsoever. So that actually was a bit of a design flaw from the first generation, which they seem to have fixed. The other thing that I have noticed since playing with it is that the sticks are not removable. These are fixed sticks that are stuck to the controller themselves, whereas on the first generation you could remove these sticks and replace them with convex, with extended, with concave. It came with a few selections that you could then interchange, and obviously over the years these sticks have worn down, like most controller sticks do. They wear smooth to the fact, or to the point where it's a much smaller stick now, and it's nice that I have the interchangeable ones so I can switch out and make these sticks last longer. So my only real hesitation with these being fixed is that over time this will wear out and you will want to get some of those caps that go on top of them rather than actually just having interchangeable sticks, which Razer could provide for you. So all in all, I'd say there are some things I would do differently. There are some complaints that I have about the design and the unboxing. If you're buying a Razer product, you normally feel like you're buying a high-end product that's going to come in a fancy package with a nice maybe bit of merchandise or extras inside the box, and this was a bit anticlimactic. So I think as far as design goes, it's going to get a 12 out of 20.